whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hook of force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā kona whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira hira whakarongo pi kari kari mai. Hare hare mai, o Taringa hare hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
E ngā tai e whā, e whati mai nei, e pari atu rā, e mihatu ana kia koutou katoa tēnā rā koutou.
Tēnā tātou e te iwi. Here we are again in the bustling metropolis of Te Awamutu.
I'm doing sound effects with my hands that make it sound like traffic. Have you noticed when you're driving down the road, on a road, and you got the window down,
Yeah.
and you hear that sound,
Yes.
and then you go past the power pole, and it goes, and if you pass anything on the road, anyway, I just thought I'd say that.
Well,
Sorry, I'll let
have you noticed
continue.
when you've got the windows right down and you're going really fast and then it starts sounding like a helicopter?
No, maybe because I've only got one ear that works. And I do only got one ear that works.
Yes, I know.
So, and I forget about that. So the other day, and we've been having the conversation about Queen. If you haven't seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, go and see it. I was listening to a remastered version of Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was wondering why some voices were missing. And I just clicked. That's probably because they were playing in this other ear, eh?
Absolutely.
And there's a voice you don't know.
Yes, so you might have just heard another voice in the studio and you might be wondering, who is that? Our beautiful 3-person co-host today.
I thought you were going to say 3-headed something, but you know.
I thought you were going to call me Fire.
Oh, co-host. Oh, no.
Kia ora whaia. We're going to talk about that later. Anyway,
Yeah,
keep
we'll
going.
talk about that later.
Yeah.
How about you introduce yourself?
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Julia Stenson toko ingoa. Ko Ngāti Whātua Rawa ko Waikato Tainui oku iwi. I'm the General Counsel at Te Wānanga o Aotearoa. That's basically the in-house lawyer.
Do you say general counsel or counsel? Or does it say?
Yeah.
It is counsel.
Okay.
If you want to emphasise the fact that I'm not a counsel.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah. Because I think you better, I think that we need to define that.
Yes.
Say, general counsel. Say, he roia koe nera.
He roia koe nera.
Yeah, you're a lawyer, eh?
Yeah. I know that the kupu for lawyer is roia.
Yeah.
Just don't know all of the packing around it.
And tēnā koe e te tuahine, e noho tahi nei. Thank you for joining us. And so you all know, this is what I do full time, eh? This is like a side thing, Taringa. And welcome back to Taringa, by the way, brought to you by Te Wānanga o Aotearoa. As I was leaving my tari, Julia, her tari is across from mine, and she says, where are you going? And I says, I'm going off to do Taringa. And she goes, I might pop down. I go, yeah. And she goes, I think I'm going to walk. I was, all right, then I'll meet you there later. And I turned up, and here she is. And I says, well, you might as well jump in, and here she is.
Here she is.
So there you go. Say no mai, Julia. Lovely to have you.
Oh, ngā mihi.
Tēnā koe.
Our kiwaha for this episode 73, is...
Whitu te kaumātoru.
Yes. Whitu te kaumātoru is ko tahi atu.
Ko tahi atu.
From my understanding, ko tahi atu is to make a beeline for something, to
That's
get
right.
straight in there, get straight to the point.
Why do you think we say beeline when bees, you know, they don't actually go straight, they go like...
Yeah, they do.
And they don't actually
They like titaka, like the pi wai waka.
Or the pi waka waka.
Or the waka rangi rangi.
That's right.
Is it about the bee?
No, I don't
or
think so.
Is it about like a baseline?
It could be.
Oh,
I'm not
could
sure.
be.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, krewa koe, Julia.
Yes.
Yeah, so ko tahi atu means straight to the point, beeline, get to it. If I was to use it in a sentence, I'd say, I ko tahi atu au ki Tāmaki, so I went straight to Auckland. Or I could say, I ko tahi atu ki te kaupapa.
Yes. Yeah.
Or I ko tahi atu a Julia ki te kōrero mo te kaupapa. So she went straight to talking about the kaupapa, discussing the kaupapa.
Yeah. No beating around the bush.
Yeah. For instance, if I was to add a ana to it, I could use it in a reply. So say you asked me, do you think we should go straight to the hui? And I could say, ko tahi atu ana. Ai, ko tahi atu ana. Yeah, I'm going to go straight to
Yeah.
it.
Like, yes,
Instead
definitely.
of saying ko tahi atu. I could still say ai ko tahi atu, but
It just sounds better, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, say
Okay.
ko tahi atu. It means
Ko tahi
straight to the
atu.
point. Yeah, ko tahi atu. Like, should we talk about this now or later? Ai, ko tahi atu.
All right. Well, ko tahi atu ki te kaupapa,
There you go. Ko tahi atu. We've done enough beating around the bush before then. Kia ora.
Yes. So we're going to carry on with part 2 of Patapatai.
Patapatai.
It went so well the other day that we thought we have to bring you all more of it.
Yeah, we got all these great reviews.
All these great reviews from
we
ourselves.
Did. Yep.
Well, the truth is we've only got through a few questions and there's so many from everybody. Thank you for everybody who engages with our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. It's really cool to see. And yes, we do look at your guys' questions and comments and posts, just so you know.
Yeah.
Here we have one from Ariana Stevens.
Kia ora, Ariana Stevens.
Kia ora.
She wanted us to discuss taea versus āhei. That's one that's pretty interesting for me. Whakaaro Māori. I'm guessing what is it to whakaaro Māori? And one more. Ture o te hāngu me ngā hua ka puta mehe mea koe ka hapa. For example, I tapahia au e te parawa. Should we start from taea versus āhei?
Yes. So basically taea, T-A-E-A, versus āhei, A with a macron or A, H-E-I, āhei. Taea is being able to do something, you have the ability to do something. Whereas āhei is about whether you have the power to do something as opposed to the means to be able to do it. So let's say, ka taea e tērā kōtiro te traiwa.
Yeah.
She can drive, she's able to because she knows how to, but kaore ia e āhei, but she's not actually allowed to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tariao. Everyone should remember Tariao from the earlier episodes, the original
Way
co-host.
back in episode 1 to whichever one she left through.
Yes. Well, I was writing an email. I can't remember who it was to. I was writing it in Te Reo Māori and I used to get her to always check my Te Reo Māori because she's just so knowledgeable in that area.
Yeah.
She told me one particular line I had written, ka taea e koe te something, I don't know. And she said to me, oh, you should change it to āhei. And I was like, oh, why is that? And she's like, because, yeah, they might be able to do that, like physically able to do what you're asking, but they might not be allowed or that, they might not have the time to actually help you do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, that you have just dropped a penny right there.
So it's kind of like, do they have the capacity? They can, but...
with taea.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have the capacity to do it, and the other one is do they have the mana to do it.
Wow. Yes.
Ooh. Yeah.
Mana. Cool.
So you have to be really careful with that distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And when people, a lot of people, when they start using taea and then they learn about āhei, you get a bit mixed up using the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of think of it as taea is, are you able to whatever it is? And āhei, can you whatever it is?
I don't think it's about able and can, because you can still, I can drive, but I'm not allowed to. Yeah.
Okay.
I shouldn't drive because by the law, I haven't got a license or whatever, you know, so I shouldn't, but I can drive because I have the ability to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the difference between taea and āhei.
Whakaaro Māori.
Ooh.
That's a hard one, I reckon.
Yeah.
What is it to whakaaro Māori?
Yeah, this gets talked about in different hui, actually.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets bandied around and people don't know what they're talking about when they're talking about whakaaro Māori or Māori worldview or Māori philosophy, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And see, essentially, whakaaro Māori is Māori worldview, Māori philosophy, Māori way of thinking, Māori thought process.
Would it be the lens?
Yep. Whakaaro Māori is a good wānanga, actually. And yesterday we talked about, was it Māori art? Kai Māori was one, eh?
Yeah, Kai Māori.
And I sort of talked about toi Māori or Māori art.
Yeah.
And I says, well, what's your definition of Māori art? Is it a Māori who's doing art?
Yeah.
Is it art that you would think it looks Māori? Is that Māori art? What is whakaaro Māori? Is it Māori who thinks?
Yeah. Or is it...
Well, what do you both think Māori?
Well, because it's the same with business. It's like, is it a Māori business because there's Māori running it? Or is it a Māori business because it's run from
Oh,
you know,
set the grain.
that source. Yeah, there's the rain. That source of a point of view,
Yeah.
or a way of thinking that comes from
Yep.
the puna.
I don't know, because it's hard, like, when learning te reo Māori, because I'm learning it as a person whose first language is English, when I try to talk Māori, I'm translating Pākehā sentences in my head into Māori sentences. And I think that kind of maybe trips me up because I'm too busy trying to get the right translation, where I'm missing out all these other ways I could say something in a different Māori way. I don't know, does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense to me because I'm the same.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm probably further back than I'm real novice, really. I consider myself novice. And I think when I started learning, I was doing the same. I was trying to translate in the same
Format.
syntax, even the sentence structure of English, which was just crazy. And when I realised I had to let that go and actually come from the Māori point of view of how that should be constructed, things just got so much easier.
Yeah.
And I think if you took that analogy of a syntax and applied it to life, is, you know, there's ways of doing things as Māori, and there's ways that things that are done that they don't follow the Māori way of doing things.
Yeah.
Same with a sentence structure. So the verb and the noun and all those sorts of things and the agent and stuff. The same mi roto I te ao, how we go about some of the things we do, which, for instance, I go to a lot of hui, and the hui Māori, everybody will greet everyone, usually.
Yeah.
Depending how big the hui is, not talking about a big consultation hui, but if there's a hui at the pā or even at mahi here, or at the wānanga and other kaupapa Māori, everyone will go around and greet one another and to familiarise each other, and, you know, do little mihi. It's not really formal or anything.
Yeah.
And you might have some whakawhanaungatanga or not, but that whakawhanaungatanga happens when you engage with everybody before the hui. And that's really, really important.
Yeah.
And it's really foreign to me when I go to hui and that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, and I feel really awkward. It's just a case of having to, okay, this is how they do it. Much later, I might actually meet the people in the hui. But
But you've been there that whole time.
And you talked about today at a hui you were at, and it was actually a hui Māori. I'm not saying that
Aye.
was and who it was. Yeah, and it got quite intense. And then he had a bit of a break for kai, and then whoever was running hui said, oh, we've only got kai for the kaumātua. For the kaumātua. Oh. Yeah.
Not for everybody.
No. Well, you know, that just made everybody was hangry. And
It just escalated it.
yeah, now that's not whakaaro Māori.
No. See, in that sort of context, what I view whakaaro Māori is something for everyone. And whakawhanaungatanga or whanaungatanga is something that, like, underpins most of our values, I think. Yeah. And actually, I was having this really interesting kōrero with someone in the weekend, and apparently the new big thing in professional sports teams around the world is to employ this sense of whanaungatanga in their teams.
Right.
Because they figure
Hello.
no matter how... Yeah, I know, hello. But just,
But haven't they learnt that off the All Blacks? Didn't they say that the actual haka had... That's one of the kind of key secrets that I've just given away. Because that kind of coming together and doing a kanikani, or, you know, learning that. Togetherness and actually performing that at the start, it's bigger than just that
Doing the
kind of
haka.
challenge. It's also
About unity and kōtahi.
yeah, unity, yes, and having that connectedness.
Are those things, though, really Māori only? Or are they things that
I think that
people that
Māori...
have forgotten? Or,
Yeah, I think that Māori just understand and have never forgotten the importance of relating to each other as humans before we get into some, you know, raru, really.
Before they
whatever.
kotai
Or
atu.
whatever, whatever.
Yeah, kotahi atu ki te he rai.
Yes, and when you've been to hui where they don't do it, it's so apparent the impact it has on that hui outcome. or even how it's run. It's a lot smoother, I think, in my experience, if you are doing those things up front.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
In short, I think that whakaaro Māori is underpinned by our tikanga and our values and our mātāpono, or our principles.
Yeah.
So I think that's what underpins whakaaro Māori. And if you are removed or haven't been reconnected or are removed or not connected enough, or you've been away from home or away from those environments, then it can be a bit of a challenge to think Māori.
I have to say, even the values, which of course are important to know, but the penny didn't drop for me until I learnt more about the history.
Yes, that's a good point, yeah.
And some of the stories that inform the tikanga as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tino.
Patapatai.
Ka nui tēnā mo te whakaaro Māori
Alright.
and taea me te āhei. And I think we covered rere hangu.
But just still on that whakaaro Māori, I don't know, what do you call it, idea. I'm looking here at
Whakaaro Māori whakaaro.
a message from Arthur Tane, and he has asked, how can we address our employers in a way where it's time to have a cultural leave policy?
Oh, here you go, Julia. This one's for
perfect
you,
for
mate.
you.
Timing.
Without being demanding. So you're the perfect guest to have on the show today.
I guess my question is, I'm assuming here that you're not working for an organisation that works through the lens of Te Ao Māori.
Tino pai.
So I think that, there's a lot of talk about cultural competency at the moment, and I think that's really what you're speaking to. And it is around sitting down with your employer and really having that conversation about the fact that perhaps they need to understand more around the Māori culture, given that, it is the Indigenous culture. And that can be a difficult conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked for Pākehā organisations where they would ask me things during the earthquakes. I was in the Wellington earthquake, and I had one of the people that I work with say, is there a reason why the Māori people are leaving the buildings? Is there a cultural reason? And I was like, well, are they the only ones leaving?
Yeah.
No. But I was just wondering. It's like, okay, well, I'm not quite sure how to take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're breaking?
So, yeah, it can be quite a touchy subject, and it will depend, I think, and I'm interested to know what you guys think, but depends on, you have to make a judgment call about how open your employer is to that conversation, because you don't want to get yourself in trouble, like the reality is they are your employer, so... But there is a good cause for asking for cultural leave.
Yeah.
I believe that's in this day and age.
What would be cultural leave? What would fit under that?
What's that, cultural competency or...
Yeah, what is cultural competency?
Well, it's just kind of understanding that your culture is not the only culture in the world, and you're working with people who come from different cultures.
Yeah.
There's a benefit in that. There's a benefit in diversity. They also talk about thought diversity, and for them to kind of open their eyes to the fact that there's not just their view
Yeah.
in the world, and
Yeah.
people genuinely, it's not just a skive off. There are things that your culture, because that's not just Māori culture that has those things.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's noticed or recognised, I should say, and acknowledged in Te Wānanga Aotearoa is it's not just, if you're applying for cultural leave, it's not just Māori cultural things that you can apply for.
Yeah.
But if you want an example of cultural leave, it could be attending an iwi event or celebration.
Yes. Yep.
Could be, for instance, the rātana
Yes.
celebrations or any of the kingitanga
Yeah.
things.
That's right, because those happen during the week. They're not, not everything's in the weekend.
I think tangi is another.
Would that be a totally different one?
Yeah, I think that's another kaupapa kōrero is not really
I think so.
Yeah,
but it could fall under it. I think most Pākehā think that it's immediately for tangi.
Yeah, I know of a company, well, they're little, but they hire Māori, but they're very careful in how many Māori they hire from the same whānau. Because they know if there's a tangi,
True.
then a whole lot of them are going to take leave at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
So
that's
they-
risk mitigation.
Yeah, risk mitigation. Thank you, Julia. There you go. You know, talking about the cultural leave and things like that, I've had people comment to me who don't work for the wānanga. They say, oh, you're lucky. You get to go to this and that. And I think, well, you chose to work where you do work. Maybe they don't have many options to them. I don't see it that I'm lucky. Well, I do. I feel lucky that I work at the wānanga, but I think that that's being able to attend those cultural things or kaupapa Māori, and I call it kaupapa leave. That's part and parcel of working for a Māori organisation. It's good that you're in this kōrero. It's good timing because I've never worked for a Pākehā organisation.
Wow.
So I wouldn't know otherwise.
We are lucky.
Yeah.
We're very lucky in that respect. You know, there's never any question about whether or not we should go to an important event.
Yeah.
You know, it's
So-
encouraged.
Yeah, it actually is encouraged, eh?
Exactly.
And maybe if it's very hard for you to approach your employer about those types of things, maybe they might not be the right employer for you.
Yeah. Alternatively, what you want to do is think about how it could benefit them. It may even be that understanding Māori culture could be of benefit to them, you know, like finding ways that it becomes a reciprocity.
A reciprocal situation. Some good sound advice there, I think.
Yeah.
I think ko te mea nui ki au, have the conversation first and foremost. What do you want exactly?
Yeah.
You know, go in there and be clear about that. At the same time, be rangi Māori e.
Yeah, definitely.
Be rangi
Yes.
Māori e. Rau e tēnā pātai.
Me whakarongo pi kari kari.
We have here from Daniel Brown, he pātai au kia korua mo te kaupapa a me o.
Pātai tāku, yes.
He's got whakaahua adjectives. I might be overcomplicating things if I'm describing my wife's looks or feelings. Wife is a for looks, or
Sorry.
does one override the other? Or if I were to say something about our niece's car, tō tātou i rā mutu waka, or is it tā tātou i rā mutu waka?
It's te waka or tā tātou i rā mutu. So you're describing the car that belongs to your niece. So your niece would be a, but her car is o.
So
And it's still o because it's a vehicle for transportation. So your relationship to the person doesn't dictate whether their position is going to be a or o, because they're a. It's the fact of what is the position. Is it an a or an o? And in this case, it's an o. So the position is o, but the niece is an a.
yeah. If he was talking about
You got me, Angel, you following?
his niece's
trying.
kuri,
Yeah.
then the kuri's an a. So it'll be te
Kuri's
kuri,
te kuri a,
a, tā,
tāku.
or tāku, i rā mutu.
Yeah.
What about how he was asking here
taku.
about
His
his wife's
feelings.
looks or feelings?
Same things, or. Yeah, so feelings, any feelings, emotions, thoughts are always or.
Yeah, or the
So,
kariaroto.
Ona, so it'll be ona whakaaro, her thoughts. Oku, my thoughts. O whakaaro, your thoughts. Or whakaaro, but that's not a discussion.
Yeah.
And same with adjectives, describing what she looks like. Tōna āhua.
Oh, okay, yeah.
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 Yeah,
So they're
that's
all alls.
Even though I think what I'm getting is just because he's saying my wife is an a, he'd say tāku wahine.
Yeah. But her feelings and
Yeah,
her
because-
looks, her
yeah.
āhua,
They're still
they're all.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So emotions are always all. Feelings are always all. Thoughts are all.
Yeah.
Parts of the body is always all. Yeah, all category. Yeah.
A's and alls are so hard.
Yeah.
Eh? So much wānanga about those ones.
For me, because I spend a lot of time with people that speak Māori all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it becomes natural.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it. I've got to a point anyway where, because I'm in those conversations all the time, it's when you're not in a group practicing the language, using the language, then and you're only going to use it sporadically or at times when you're in class or wherever, then you're not exposing yourself to te reo as much as a person who's who's in the circles that I move in.
Yeah.
Not even circles, they're actually my friends.
Yeah.
And people that are, you know, and me and Ngāhui, we speak Māori all the time. And,
Yeah.
you know, taku wahine. So it's different for everybody. So it doesn't seem as laborious or difficult, I guess, to get the A or category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're doing as opposed to picking it apart, it's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, from my understanding, anything that goes on or in your body, so like kai or your clothes, is an or.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the same with your feelings and your looks because they're on your body. And then everything else that is not, except for transportation, is an a.
Yes.
And houses and stuff.
This is where the debate can be had in regards to food. So food is in the A category.
Okay, but
Right.
like, what about kumara?
Yeah. Well, it's still a food, so it's A.
Okay.
Yeah, see, there's all these exceptions that start
Yeah.
to...
Yeah, there are some
Yes,
exceptions,
yeah.
but if you were to eat something as a rongoā,
Yeah.
it becomes or.
Or, yeah.
Or because rongoā is for...
Healing the body as
Healing the
opposed
body.
to sustaining it.
I
Yeah.
see.
Mm.
I see.
And yet the word or, we have an old word, which is or, for sustenance,
Yeah.
which is where we get the whakatau ki te amorangi ki mua, te hāpai o ki muri. So te amorangi, classically, traditionally, was the priest, was the amorangi, who was sometimes carried on an amorangi, or the rangatira,
Yeah.
or the ariki, and his food, or her food bearers, were behind carrying the o, ko te hāpai o ki muri,
Oh, okay.
the servants.
Yeah.
Yeah, which has now taken on another meaning. Now it means you karakia before you do the spiritual things before the physical.
Yeah.
But that word or is an or category, can be both or and a.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's getting technical.
Yeah.
That is technical.
So I know a couple of years ago, I think through AUT, Sir Timoti Karetu, kia ora papa, convened a hui with some of his ilk, or actually who is of Timoti's ilk, really. I should say some of his past tauira, those who he believes in. Their wānanga for 2 days was on A and O.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and they just went through a whole list of things and different things. And one debate was over a bulldozer. So I class a bulldozer as a or because it's a vehicle. Whereas someone in the hui, she said, no, it's an A because it's a tool, even though it's for transport.
But all transports are tools, aren't they?
Even though you drive it and that, it's actually a tool, so it's an A, not an
So
or.
what's a waka then?
An or,
And oh.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So there you go. So how we didn't confuddle you in that. My thing is, don't worry about all of the, exceptions and things. You get the foundation down.
Yeah.
I te tuatai.
Yeah. Yes, get
How do you
those
feel
foundations.
about A and or categories, Julia?
I'm still working on the foundations.
Yeah.
And I think that's sound advice
Yeah.
to pick up the exceptions on the way.
Yeah, and that's what's cool about having both of you in this session of Taringa is you're both sort of in different places in your te reo journey, so it's cool. We all are. I mean, I'm still learning. I learn every day. So don't think that, and I had this conversation with Timoti, and I said to him, you're Timoti Karetu, do you still learn? Is there anything left for you to learn? And he said to me, yes. He still learns new words, new old words. He still finds interesting things reading. I think, and a good tip to those of us that are at that level of language is to read some of the old newspapers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and if you go online, NZ Tech, I think it's called, New Pepper Māori, search that, and you can go on there and you can do a keyword search, and it's really, really interesting reading the newspapers from the Māori newspapers from the 1800s to the early 1900s. Yeah, so he's still learning, so hey, there's no excuse. If Timoti Karetu, who was the, te atua o te reo Māori, and he says he's still learning, then there's no excuse for anybody, really.
Yeah. I think it would be a sad world if you couldn't learn anything from it.
Exactly.
I love learning, just saying.
Me too. I think we all do.
I've got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a lot to learn. Here's one from Pare Puketapu. Embalming, what did we traditionally in the past do around tūpāpaku?
I just love it how these questions, we
They're
just
so
we've gone
diverse.
from āhei to taea, then we've gone to āo, what else have we done? And now we're in embalming.
Yeah, I'm so curious.
So I'm going to start with the kupu weta
Okay,
and weta.
yes.
So if you looked up weta, which is a common mispronunciation, is that a word?
Yeah.
Yeah. For the New Zealand native beetle, we all know, or we think is a weta, but it's actually a weta.
Weta.
Weta is a wisp of grass used to clean the anus of a tūpāpaku, or a dead body. That is what a weta is.
Yes, I've heard this recently.
Yes. And a weta is the beetle.
If you could see me, my mouth's dropped open in shock.
Well, didn't you see on...
Are you thinking of that? Are you thinking of a wisp of grass?
There was a big article on stuff about, weta needing to change their name.
Well, now they know that it's a wisp of grass.
It's so yesterday. I've sent, and if any of the employees I sent an email to them a long time ago, ages ago. My kuia said weta, and I've heard kaumātua use it, but it was actually brought to my attention in the class in uni long time ago now about that particular kupu. But yeah, so anyway, in terms of embalming processes, I know a lot of iwi had their own special ways of looking after tūpāpaku. Mm-hmm. So obviously, if you were in the snow, you would utilise the snow.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, and recently in the past 10 years, quite a prominent kaumātua of Taranaki passed away, and they went up, and how they had him in his whare mate, or his house of mourning, where the tangihanga rituals took place. They actually dug out underneath where the tūpāpaku was to lay, or the deceased, and they filled it with snow.
Oh, yeah.
And then they put a whāriki on top of there, and then lay the tūpāpaku straight on top of the whāriki, and then
It's so clever.
yeah, and then put kakahu over him, or korowai.
Yeah. And had he been embalmed?
No,
Oh, yeah, cool.
no, and
No, because he's on ice.
Yeah.
yes, there you go.
Yeah.
But talking to some embalmers and funeral directors, a lot of that too is to look after why we do have embalming, we embalm tūpāpaku and things like that, is to actually look after the living as well, because, there's all sorts of things that can happen. And so, yeah, it's not just about preserving the tūpāpaku these days, it's also about the preservation of life in general, because say people don't get sick or catch any bugs or things.
True.
So
Yeah, I
that's
never
the
thought
other
of it
side
like
of
that.
looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some good kōrero about this. And while the two I've talked to, they think it's a good whakaaro that we want to revive these things, but we just need to be careful about how we go about it, because we need to protect ourselves as well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I've heard kōrero from people that live by the sea. They use the sea water
Yeah.
for their tūpāpaku. Where I'm from, there was a swamp, and they would take them down to the swamp at night. And it was quite, intimate. Not everybody knew about it, and they'd take the tūpāpaku down to the swamp. And if you look at, in a lot of the swamps, particularly around this area, there was tannins and things like that from the rākau, the trees that were in the swamp water and that, which helps with
Preserve,
that.
yeah.
Yes. And they'd wash the tūpāpaku at night in there, and then prepare it for the next day of tangihanga. Yeah, so there were all sorts of things that used to be done, and blocking up certain areas and things like that as well. That's all part of it.
I see more and more now, it's getting more common to not have a casket, like a wooden coffin, but more people are bringing back in the traditional woven, I don't know what they're called, but they just look like nice big basket, harakeke things.
One of the iwi here, they, and those of you that are listening, well, in Māori, we have the last night, which is the night before we bury the beloved, and we call that either te pōwhakamutinga, te poroporo aki, or an iwi here, their term, which I use now, they say this is te pō takapau.
Oh.
And takapau is another word for whāriki or mat.
Oh, right.
And te pō takapau is when the mat that they were lying on for the duration of their tangihanga, that becomes their coffin, so to speak.
Like a wrap.
Yeah, that was the night that they would wrap the tūpāpaku in their takapau.
Yeah.
And as they're wrapping the tūpāpaku, the speeches are going, the kōrero and waiata and things like that. And this process traditionally would take place at night time up until the morning. And now what's taken place is now we put the taupoki or the lid of the coffin on early in the morning.
Yeah.
Or before the sun comes up. I know the whanganui peoples, they hold on to the midnight tradition, or when it gets quite late in the night, that's when they put the taupoki on. So yeah, in regards to embalming of bodies, yes, we did do that, and there were particular leaves and mosses that we used because, it would get haunga.
Yeah.
One of my koroa that's in his 85, he just turned 85, he remembers as a boy a tangihanga reo marae that went for a month.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the norm, or that was
it was a one-off, this one.
Yeah.
And he can't remember who it was. It must have been
somebody
a rangatira.
very special.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, and this is when everyone used to walk and had horses.
Yeah,
Not
so
many
it'd
people
take
had
ages.
cars.
Right.
And Tawhiao was the same. I think he took longer, King Tawhiao, I should say. He passed away not far from here at Paraone. And it took them weeks to get him from here to Taupuri because at every settlement, his entourage stopped that. They had a tangi for him.
Yeah.
And they'd have a tangi there for a couple of days and then pick him up
my
and they'd go off
gosh,
again.
yeah.
So, yeah, we did those things.
And back in those days, it would have taken a while for the news to get around the motu. So people would have been flooding in from all over the place.
Oh, exactly. And, just to fast forward it to today now, and it's one thing I've seen is, social media has had a huge effect on the crowds that come to tangihanga. Because instantly, almost, not long after someone passes away, the kōrero goes around really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And I remember not that old, but I remember, sometimes we wouldn't hear about tangi till after the person is gone. If mum wasn't home when my nan called or whoever, or we were away, didn't have cell phones, then you wouldn't know about it.
Yeah.
So social media has had a huge effect on not just tangihanga, but hui in general and all sorts of things. So,
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, embalming, yeah, we did.
Can you talk a little bit about the actual word tūpāpaku? Because I've heard they used to stand the bodies up.
Yeah, so they'd put them into, here's me, I'm going to
Show me. Show
He's
the stars.
demonstrating to us in the studio right now.
I'm going to do a squat. So yeah, they'd gather the knees up to the chin and then the arms around like this. And that was the tūpāpaku, but...
Around the chest.
Yeah,
when
around
you
the
mean
chest.
like this.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
You can't see him, but...
Yeah, so they'd be sort of like in a sort of squat crouch position. That's how they'd be presented through the tangihanga.
Rather than like lying down.
Rather than lying down.
They'd be sort of sitting there.
Yeah, and tūpāpaku.
Almost a fetal position.
Yeah.
Did that have any connection to that, or...?
I'm not sure. I think it might have been just, think, because about rigor mortis and all of that sort of stuff. So they would have had to do it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Before, because I remember, being told about one of our kuia when she passed away. She didn't have a hunchback, but she was piko, so she was bent over.
Yeah.
When she passed away, they had to crack her back to put her in the coffin. And she was like 6 foot something. When they got her out straight.
Yeah.
But everyone had only ever seen her crouched over as a kuia with her toko.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure about the fetal thing, but I have seen some photos of other cultures that they've done the same thing. Yeah, other indigenous cultures. But the other thing too is tūpāpaku also means to be as an invalid, someone that's sick. So, but we don't use it anymore like that. It's always means someone that's passed on. Yeah. And I think the other reason too why they done that was to train those bones, because sometimes they would leave the body like that. You know, you've heard, or you may not have, how they would be put up in a tree or somewhere, and then, you know, they'd decompose and decay. Or sometimes there was also methods they employed to actually sort of like dry the tūpāpaku, and they'd bring them out for things.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a story, I could be wrong, but I think it's the Kaingaroa Plains, and there was a rangatira that they done that to.
Yeah.
And one of the ministers of parliament, this is back in the 1800s, attended this hui, that the rangatira had passed away, obviously, or had passed away before this hui, but he would have been there to host him. And because the iwi felt that he should be at this hui, they preserved his body in this way, and at the hui they brought him out.
Wow.
Is it kind of like a taxidermy?
Yeah.
Scenario.
Kind of like mummifying them.
Yeah. Well, you know, just recently, Professor Pau Teamara, who lectures at Te Whare Wānanga Waikato, University of Waikato, and he's also one of the kaiako for Te Panekiretanga o Te Reo, for Te Wānanga o Te Reo. He was telling me that, I don't know who, but currently there's some research going into how Māori dried tattooed heads.
Oh, yes.
Because we had a process whereby the head didn't actually shrink. It kept its facial composition or structure, unlike other cultures that did used to dry heads and things like that, where they would lose a lot of the mass of the head and it would shrink quite considerably. Hence you get, you know, these legends about tribes that shrink heads and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Māori process wasn't so. So there's some people doing some research at the moment on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just on that topic, have you ever been to the Waihi Tapu area in the archives at Te Papa?
Yes.
Oh my God, I haven't, but I'd love to.
Yeah, so there's two. There's one in Te Papa and there's one in Auckland Museum too, but the Te Papa one is downstairs and the Auckland one is upstairs.
When you say there's one there, do you mean like a preserved head?
Heads.
They've got like 100 or so in Te Papa, eh?
Yeah, a few years ago, and if you don't know, Te Papa is our national museum in Wellington, Te Papa Tongarewa, and every 3 years, iwi gets to host an exhibition there. And a few years ago, the Tainui Pact hosted the Tainui exhibition. So I got to be a part of some of the kaupapa there because I was on the board at the time that put together the exhibition, and I got to travel overseas. So we went to Stanford University, who's the family that has donated most of the pūtea that set that university up. I forget their name. They were also avid collectors of cultural peculiars, I should say. And one of the things that they did collect were Mokomokai and koiwi and things. Yeah. And I got to go over there to Stanford to have a look.
Oh my gosh.
Before they were brought back to Te Papa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so were they gifted back?
Yeah.
Or did Te Papa buy them back or whatever?
No, we got them back from Stanford University.
Oh, wow,
cool. We called in there on the way to Mexico.
Wow.
As you do.
Because one of my...
Julie's like doing these mean as pukana I've never seen her do before.
I'm so impressed.
Yes, it's the stuff you hear about, but you don't realise that, you know, it actually did happen and they were a commodity, eh?
Yeah,
they used them for trade.
Yeah, there's some really, they're quite macabre photos of... I forget his name. He's Pākehā, and he's got this whole...
He's got a
whole of them.
I just think it's very macabre, isn't it? Imagine in your house having a whole lot of heads.
Yeah.
One of my friends, he's a tāmoko artist, and he's been there a few times, and he was saying that, because a lot of them that they've got returned, they don't know where they've come from. He was saying if you look at them, you can see some are prepared in particular ways, and if he was running the place, he'd kind of group all of those ones that were prepared with this like kawa stuffing or whatever stuffing or whatever muka around the bottom. You'd know that those were all from the sort of same area. But if you look at some of the moko on them, you could distinguish which iwi they might come from. because of the traditional marks.
So who killed them, but where they were from?
Oh, another interesting thing he said was that some of them you could tell were actually, they might have been sick from, I don't know, influenza or whatever and actually passed away. And after they died...
That's right. The moko was applied.
Yeah, the moko was applied afterwards and then they were sold.
Yeah.
Was that to make them more valuable?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could sell them
Right.
for guns and whatever.
These heads that were prepared, were they important people or no, not necessarily by the sounds of it?
That's why they were putting the moko on them, because they were selling them to
make them think.
Whoever, the Pākehās or whoever, that they were selling them heads of chiefs.
The Pākehā didn't care. It was...
All for looks.
Yeah, it was all for having something peculiar like that in their collection. Yeah, and throughout museums across the world, I'd say that a lot of those toi moko is the term that they've been using now, not Mokomokai, which holds some negative connotations. Yeah, a lot of those heads, some of them were rangatira and some of them weren't. Yeah, so there was a bit of a booming head trade for one part there.
Yeah. Crazy.
For some reason, I just thought of talking heads, but...
Well, they weren't talking after that.
No, they weren't. But I'll say I've had a fascination for them right from a young age when I saw photos of them.
Yeah.
I never was scared of them, but I always felt aroha for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, well, you know, back in those days, they were just really, all they were trying to do was survive. And so you got to do what you got to do. And if they passed away from influenza or whatever, then you might as well.
Yeah, I've read things, and I don't know how true it is that they actually would not, knock people off just for their heads.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is. Yeah, and then I've also read about the ones that died naturally or, otherwise, and the moko was applied afterwards. And even, like, some of them, if you do look at them, some of them you can tell, like, some of them weren't even applied by tohunga tā moko.
Yeah.
There you go. That made for interesting conversation.
Sure did.
Man.
Yeah.
Hohonu. There goes Patapatai Part 2. Hope the audience out there, enjoyed some of those answers to some of the questions and comments from
Wānanga.
Facebook.
I don't call them answers. I call them wānanga.
Yeah, wānanga is a better term for that.
Yeah, we've had a good wānanga today.
And it's been good to have Julia in here as well.
Absolutely. Hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, kia ora korua.
Nice little cameo. Might have you back. Actually, I'm thinking we do one on tikanga versus ture. That'll be a good one to have you in on. Because that's something that comes up a lot in wānanga that I run. Is tikanga versus ture. And, been to a few talks from the man himself, Moana Jackson, talking about how...
He's amazing.
Yeah, how tikanga was the ture of the land.
Yeah.
But that'll be another wānanga.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But it'll be cool to have you here for that one.
So this week's waiata o te wiki is He Hau Āwhio, which features on the Te Wānanga o Aotearoa Songs of Rangahau album. You can find it on Spotify and iTunes. And He Hau Āwhio actually is written by and sung by Alana McDonald, who is also part of our awesome sound crew that we have here at Te Wānanga o Aotearoa.
Is she still part of it?
Yeah, she still helps out,
Oh, I mean, didn't know that. Kia ora, Alana, tēnā koe, kia ora.
And so here we go, ko tahi atu ki te waiata.
Tēnei rā te huri e tiri ai hoki te one e tutu ana I te hau nāna I kawe ake ki te huinga tamariki o tā whiri horo huri He hawhio ka rere ki tō taepa epa He hawhio ka rere ki te ara mātauranga Ko te huri ka rere ki te ara whaitiri Taua ke ki tuatea ka tiri tau I hoa ki te one hau mako I te hikumutu orangi He hawhia ka rere ki tō tae paepa He hawhia ka rere ki te arama tauranga Ko te huri ka rere ki te ara whaitiri Tau ake ki tuatea ka tiri tau iho ki te one hau mako I te hikumutu orangi He hawhia ka rere ki tō tae paepa He hawhia ka rere ki te arama tauranga He hawhia ka rere ki tō tae paepa He hawhia ka rere ki te arama tauranga Ka rere ki te arama tauranga Ka rere ki te arama tauranga
Te rōreka hoki. Beautiful. Kia ora,
Yeah.
Tuhine. Lovely.
Yeah, no, that is a really lovely, beautiful song, eh? Quite calming.
Very
Relaxed.
nice. We don't want to get too lax because we've still got a few more hours left in the
Yes.
afternoon to do our mahi.
Still gonna do some mahi.
E mihi ana ki a tātou. Any closing kōrero from you, Julia?
No, just ngā mihi nui kia korua and kia koutou for having me here and listening. This has been a learning experience for me, so I've really enjoyed it and I'm glad that I got asked back. Behaved myself.
I'm actually looking forward to that one too. So yeah, we'll be in touch. And just to do a plug, I don't know what she's going to call it, but Julia's going to be doing a podcast of her own too.
I
So you want to
am.
give a little
Cool.
bit of kōrero about that?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing, it's called NZ Free Law, and it's all about trying to make the legal services more transparent for the public in New Zealand. Just
yes.
trying to understand and unpack.
That'll be such a great tool for so many people.
Yeah, that's the kaupapa.
Sounds like you needed that by the way you acted.
No, but I have had a few instances where I'm like, I don't know what any of this stuff means.
And
Yeah.
where to start, just stuff like that, demystifying and so it's just different chats with different lawyers and different people from the legal industry trying to reveal, hold that curtain back.
Kia pai mai hoki. Tēnā
Cool.
koe. We'll look
Cool.
forward to that when it comes about.
Where will we be able to find it?
I'm going to push it out through Facebook and all the normal channels. So, or you can go to ture.co.nz. That's
cool. I like that.
That's the actual
Ture.co.nz.
business that's going to run to help. Just connect with the public. Yeah.
Tēnā koe.
Cool.
Kia ora.
Cool.
Cool. Is any closing kōrero from you, te uri o te whānau panui?
Just everybody out there on the Facebook page, keep on writing in those questions and comments, and kia pai, tō rā, tō wiki, tō marama, tō everything.
Yes, your drive, or whether you're at the gym or walking the dog or whatever you're doing when you listen to Taringa, to all our followers out there, I Aotearoa and across the world too, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you for tuning in. I don't really know if you tune in these days, to a podcast.
Sounds
Not really,
good.
but it sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. for doing that. And big shout out again to our man in behind the scenes, tēnā koe mōkena.
Yes, tēnā koe.
He puts it all together. He's got the magic. It's a kind of magic. Ko mātai tukotoru tēnei, e mihi atu nei, I konei I te ipurau. I raro I nā manaakitanga a te wānanga o Aotearoa. Ngai taringa mā, tēnā koutou hei kona.
Yo, whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hook of force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā ko nā whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira whakarongo pi kari mai. Hare mai, o Taringa hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
Taringa. He mea tuku nā te wānanga o Aotearoa. To listen to more episodes, search for us on your podcast app and subscribe. Taringa, whakarongo mai.